The prisons are full of the wrong people. Look closely at what I am saying to you. The jails, the cages, the iron bars, they are filled with the symptoms of a sick society, not the causes. The real criminals sit in palaces. The real criminals sit in parliament houses, wearing expensive clothes, surrounded by armies, writing laws for others to obey. The real criminals are not the ones stealing a loaf of bread because their stomach is screaming with hunger. No, the real criminals are the ones who steal the soul of humanity and call it education. They steal your freedom and call it discipline. They steal your very being and call it culture. You have been taught to hate the thief. When you see a beggar stealing a coin, you feel anger, you feel superior, you say, "Look at this bad man." But you have never been taught to question the system that creates the beggar. You bow down to the man who steals a whole nation, who destroys millions of lives in the name of war, in the name of borders. You call him a leader, you call him your excellency. This is the insanity of the world you live in. Reality has been reversed. I am here to turn it right side up again. But be warned, when you see reality as it is, it will shock you. It will shake the ground beneath your feet, and that shaking is necessary, because only when your false foundations are destroyed can the temple of truth be built. In this talk, I am going to show you that crime is not what you think it is. I will reveal how society has played a great trick on you, calling the conscious man dangerous and the unconscious man respectable. You, listening to me right now, yes, you have felt this. I know you have felt this deep inside, a feeling that something is wrong, not with you, but with the world that demands you to be false. You have felt trapped between guilt and desire, between what the priests tell you to be and what your biology screams you are. If you have ever felt this conflict, this split, then this talk is your mirror. Look into it. Do not look away. Through it, you will see that freedom is not a dream. It is your natural state. It is who you were before they told you who you should be. Since your childhood, you have been given a script. You have been told who the bad people are: the thief, the drunkard, the prostitute, the rebel. These are the outcasts. And you have been told to bow to the so-called good people, the priests, the teachers, the politicians, the moralists. But tell me honestly, look into your own heart and tell me, have these good people made the world good? Look at history. Look at the thousands of years of human existence. It is these good people who have created inquisitions, crusades, jihads. It is these good people who burn women as witches. It is these good people who decide who lives and who dies. Has their virtue brought peace to your heart, or has it brought anxiety? You feel something is false. There is a quiet doubt in you, a whisper that you are being deceived, that maybe, just maybe, those who look holy are the ones most afraid of the truth. Those who preach poverty live in golden temples. Those who preach celibacy are obsessed with sex. Those who preach peace are the biggest warmongers. I am here to bring light to that darkness. I am not here to accuse them. An awakened man accuses no one because he understands the root cause. I am here to awaken you. I am not here to destroy morality, but to reveal something higher than morality, something far more sacred: consciousness. That is the only true law that exists, the law of your own being. So walk with me. We will take a journey through the hidden layers of what we call crime. We will look at how societies have built prisons for the body and even stronger prisons for the soul, and how both can be escaped, not by violence, not by revolution in the streets, but by the explosion of awareness within. We will see how guilt has been used to control you. Guilt is the greatest weapon ever invented. It is more powerful than any nuclear bomb. A bomb can only destroy your body. Guilt destroys your spirit. It makes you bow down. It makes you feel unworthy. And a man who feels unworthy is easy to enslave. By the end of our time together, you will not only understand who the real criminals are, you will know how to live beyond all prisons. The prison of morality, of politics, of religion, of the mind itself. There will be moments that may shock you. Good. Let the shock happen. A shock is just a knock on the door of your sleep. It says, wake up. Each shock is a doorway to awakening. Let us begin at the beginning. You have been taught that morality makes you good, that following rules makes you righteous, that obedience brings peace. This is the hypnosis. This is the mantra repeated to you since you were in the cradle. Do this, don't do that. Be like this, don't be like that. But here is something most people completely miss. Morality has never created a single enlightened human being, not one. Morality creates copies. It creates carbon copies. It creates hypocrites. It creates pretenders. It creates people who have beautiful masks but ugly faces behind them. The truly alive man, the awakened man, has always stood outside the circle of morality. Why? Because morality is imposed from the outside. It is a dead weight. Consciousness grows from the inside. It is a living flower. Think of Jesus. Was he moral according to the society of his time? No. He hung around with prostitutes, with drunkards, with the poor, with the outcasts. The moral people of his time, the rabbis, the high priests, they called him a sinner. They said, this man eats with the wrong people. They crucified him because his very presence was a danger to their morality. Think of Socrates, the wisest man Athens ever produced. What did the good people do to him? They poisoned him. Why? Because he was corrupting the youth? No, because he was making them think, and to a society built on lies. Thinking is the greatest crime. To a society of sheep, the lion is always the criminal. Society calls the awakened man dangerous, and they are right. He is dangerous. I am dangerous, because I am taking away your chains. And you have been in love with your chains for so long that you think I am stealing your jewelry. Morality is a beautiful word, but behind it hides the oldest trick in human history. The priests and politicians discovered long ago that chains of iron are too expensive. They are visible. The slave can see them, and if he sees them, one day he will try to break them. So they invented invisible chains. They invented conscience, not real conscience, but the fake voice they planted in your head. They discovered that if you can make a man feel guilty, you no longer need to imprison his body. He will become his own jailer. He will carry the cage inside him. He will police himself. Have you noticed this? You are alone in your room. Nobody is watching, yet you are afraid to be yourself. Who is watching? The ghost of your father, the ghost of your priest, the ghost of your teacher. They are all there, sitting in your head, judging you. Don't touch your body. That is sin. Don't laugh too loud. That is rude. Don't ask questions. That is rebellion. You carry a whole parliament inside your head, and you think you are free. You are a walking prison. this is how morality works. It teaches you to hate your natural self. It teaches you to hate your joy. Your spontaneity is crushed. Your love is regulated. And then it calls this hatred virtue. It is a sickness. If you are listening to this and you feel that burden in your chest, that heaviness of always trying to be good but never feeling good, I want you to take a moment. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who is living my life? Is it me, or is it the fear of what others will say? If you are brave enough to ask this, you are ready for the truth. The moral man does not follow truth, he follows commandments. He does not live with consciousness, he lives with calculation. He is a businessman. Even in his prayers, he is doing business. He goes to the temple and says, God, I have been good. I have followed the rules. Now give me a reward. Give me a place in heaven. He is bargaining. His goodness is just a currency to buy a ticket to paradise. And he is afraid, if I do this wrong, will I be punished in hell? His life is trembling between greed for heaven and fear of hell. How can love flower in such a soil? Fear can never give birth to love. Fear can never give birth to compassion. Fear only creates more fear. A conscious man, on the other hand, acts from a different center. He does not look at a book to find out what is right or wrong. He does not ask the priest. He simply listens to his heart. He turns his gaze inward. And when you truly listen to your heart, not the noise of your mind, but the silence of your heart, you cannot harm another being. It is impossible. Why is it impossible? Because in that silence you see that the other is not other. You see yourself in everyone. You see that the life pulsing in you is the same life pulsing in the tree, in the animal, in your neighbor, even in your enemy. When you see yourself in everyone, how can you steal? You would be stealing from yourself. How can you lie? You would be lying to yourself. Morality divides. It says, I am good, you are bad. It creates an ego trip. I am a saint, look at me, I fast, I pray, I follow the rules. The moral man is filled with ego. That is why the so-called saints are so heavy, so serious. They cannot laugh. Their faces look like they have been drinking vinegar. They are carrying a heavy burden of their own goodness. Awareness unites. Awareness says we are one. Morality judges. Awareness understands. Morality says obey. Awareness says wake up. Have you noticed how every moral society ends up producing the same ugliness it condemns? Look at the Victorian era. So moral. They covered the legs of tables because legs were considered sexual. And yet, underneath that strict morality was the greatest perversion, the greatest pornography, the greatest repression. The more you repress, the more corruption grows underground. This is a psychological law. Whatever you deny, whatever you push into the basement of your mind gains power. It becomes a monster. If you condemn sex, your mind will become obsessed with sex. You will dream about it. You will hallucinate about it. If you glorify poverty, the mind becomes greedy. Morality creates the very sins it pretends to fight, because repression is the mother of all perversion. That is why I say the moral man is dangerous. He is sitting on a volcano. He looks calm on the surface, but underneath, the lava is boiling. And any day it will explode. And when a good man explodes, he does things that even a criminal would be ashamed of. When a child is born, look at him. Look into the eyes of a newborn baby. He knows nothing of morality. He knows nothing of your Bible, your Gita, your Quran. Is he evil? No. He is pure. He is innocent. He is uncorrupted. He simply is. He is a part of existence flowing with it. Then the work of society begins. The parents, the teachers, the priests, they all rush to the cradle. They are afraid of this innocence. It is too wild, it is too free. So they begin to prune him. They begin to cut him. This is good. That is bad. Don't touch that. Sit like this. Be like that. They carve the child into a shape that suits their idea of order. They kill the human and create a citizen. By the time he becomes an adult, he has forgotten who he really is. He has become a shadow of someone else's expectations. He has become a puppet. And yet he walks proudly, thinking he is moral. He thinks he is a respectable member of society. He does not know he is dead. He died long ago. That is why I call morality the ugliest crime, because it kills the soul in the name of virtue. It replaces your living intelligence with dead commandments. It makes you afraid of life itself. Have you ever seen a truly moral man laugh? I mean a deep belly laugh that shakes his whole being? A laugh that comes from the toes? You haven't. Because morality kills laughter. Laughter is dangerous to the ego. Laughter is rebellious. When you laugh totally, the mind stops, the thinking stops. And the moral man is afraid of stopping the mind, because if the mind stops, his control is lost. He turns into a corpse that can walk and talk but cannot dance. He goes through the motions of life, but the juice is gone. When you see this clearly, and I mean really see it, not just agree with me intellectually, something radical happens. Your guilt begins to dissolve. You realize that there was never anything wrong with you. The wrong was in the eyes that judged you. The wrong was in the system that measured you against a dead ideal. You were born innocent, and that innocence cannot be destroyed. It can be covered, yes. It can be buried under layers of dust, layers of conditioning, layers of shoulds and should nots. But it is still there. It is waiting for you. Awareness is enough to bring it back. You don't have to do anything to become innocent. You just have to be aware of the corruption that has been imposed on you. The moment you see the false as false, the false falls away. So the next time you feel guilty for being human, for having desires, for feeling anger, for wanting love, stop. Remember, it is not your sin. It is society's programming. It is a software that has been installed in your biocomputer. You are not the software. You are the user. You are the watcher. Awareness is your freedom from that programming. The moment you become aware, morality drops like a dead leaf in autumn. You don't have to pluck it. It falls by itself. And in its place, a new kind of purity arises. Not a purity practiced in front of a mirror, not a purity that seeks applause, but a purity that is wild, natural, born out of your own being. And when that happens, you begin to see the world differently. Your eyes become clear. The fog lifts. You realize that the people called sinners are often the most alive. They have suffered, yes. They have scars, yes. But they are real. And the people called saints are often the most dead. They are plastic flowers. They look perfect, but they have no fragrance, no roots, no life. You understand that a real saint is not one who follows rules. A real saint is one who has dropped all pretension, one who lives with totality, not with rules, but with rhythm. He flows with existence like a river. Sometimes the river moves left, sometimes right. Sometimes it is slow. Sometimes it is a waterfall. The river has no map. The river trusts the ocean. But society loves maps. Society loves straight lines. Society hates the river. When you begin to see that morality itself is a mask, a new question arises in you. If those who made the laws are not pure, if they are just playing a game of power, then what is true law? What is real order? And who then are the real criminals? Let us look deeper into this mechanism. I want you to understand the economics of crime, the politics of crime. Here is something that will sound almost unbelievable, yet it is the simple truth. Society itself creates the very criminals it then condemns. It is a manufacturing process. Schools, churches, families, they are factories. And the waste product of these factories is what you call the criminal. It is like a doctor infecting the patient just so he can sell the cure. If everyone is healthy, the doctor goes out of business. If everyone is peaceful, the politician goes out of business. If everyone is innocent, the priest goes out of business. Think about it. The priest needs you to be a sinner. If you are not a sinner, what is his function? He cannot save you if you are not drowning. So his whole investment is in making sure you feel like you are drowning. The laws, the punishments, the moral codes, they do not exist to prevent crime. They exist to sustain it, because a guilty population is easier to control than a free one. A man who respects himself, a man who trusts his own intelligence, cannot be forced to fight in a war. He will say, no. He will say, why should I kill a stranger who has done nothing to me? But a man who is full of guilt, who believes he is bad, who believes he must obey authority to be redeemed, he will pick up the gun, he will kill, he will die, he will do whatever the leaders say. The real genius of the system lies in how it shifts the blame. It points the finger at you. It teaches the poor man to think his hunger is his fault. You are lazy, it says. You didn't work hard enough. It teaches the broken man to think his pain is his punishment. You must have sinned in a past life, or God is testing you. It teaches the enslaved man to believe his chains are the price of peace. If we give you freedom, there will be chaos. So let us control you for your own good. Once this lie settles deep in the heart, there is no need for gods. The prison walls are no longer made of stone. They are made of your own beliefs. People start policing themselves. People start policing each other. If you see someone dancing in the street, you get uncomfortable. You say, he is crazy. Why? Because he is free, and his freedom reminds you of your slavery. You want to stop him because his dance is an insult to your chains. Look around, open your eyes. The prisons are overflowing with the hungry, not with the powerful. The man who steals a piece of bread is called a criminal. He is handcuffed. He is thrown in a dark cell. His life is destroyed. But the man who steals an entire country, the man who exploits the resources of a continent, the man who plays with the economy and leaves millions jobless, he is called a leader. He is given a Nobel Prize. He is on the cover of magazines. Do you see the absurdity? Do you see the madness? The one who breaks into your home at night will be arrested by the one who breaks into your soul through fear every day. The policeman, the judge, the magistrate, they are part of the same machinery. And yet you think justice exists. You have this naive belief that the courts are there for justice. No. Justice is a mask that hides privilege. Justice is a net that catches the small fish and lets the big sharks pass through. Crime, as you have been taught to see it, is just the shadow of an unjust world. It is the reflection in the mirror. You cannot break the mirror and expect the reflection to disappear. You have to change the face in front of the mirror. When greed is rewarded and compassion punished, how can honesty survive? Look at your educational system. It teaches competition. It teaches you to fight your neighbor. It teaches you that to succeed, you must climb over the heads of others. It says, be number one. But everyone cannot be number one. If there is a number one, there must be a number two, a number 10, a number 1,000,000. And the number 1,000,000 feels like a failure. He feels angry. He feels cheated. And out of that anger, out of that feeling of worthlessness, crime is born. When the world worships success above all else, what chance does truth have? If you tell the truth and lose, you are a loser. If you lie and win, you are a winner. The world worships the winner. It doesn't care how he won. It doesn't ask if he cheated, if he exploited, if he killed. It only looks at the trophy in his hand. The poor man who steals has not failed society. Society has failed him. Poverty itself is a form of violence. To deprive a man of food, of education, of dignity, that is the slowest murder there is. It kills the spirit day by day. The system commits this murder daily and calls it the economy. The rich hoard mountains of wealth they will never use. They cannot eat gold. They cannot wear 1,000 suits at once, but they hoard it because wealth gives them power. It gives them an ego boost. And yet the beggar is blamed for being lazy. Tell me, who is the real thief? The one who takes a loaf of bread to survive, to quiet the screaming stomach of his child, or the one who takes the earth itself and calls it property? This earth belongs to no one. It belongs to existence. How can you own a piece of the earth? Can you own the sunshine? Can you own the wind? But the leaders have drawn lines on the map. They say, this is mine, that is yours. And if you cross the line, they shoot you. You celebrate those who plunder the planet. You call them industrialists. They poison the rivers. They cut down the forests. They fill the air with smoke. They are killing the future of your children, but they are respected. They donate a little money to charity, build a temple or a hospital, and you clap your hands. What a great man. And you curse the hungry child who takes what he needs. This is how upside down the world has become. And yet you still believe crime is the fault of individuals. You never see that every thief, every addict, every prostitute is carrying the burden of society's sickness. They are the symptoms. They are the visible wounds of a body that is dying of its own injustice. When you treat the symptom, you ignore the disease. You put the thief in jail, but the greed that created him is still running the government. You punish the drug addict, but the misery that made him seek escape is still woven into the fabric of your daily life. I want you to be the judge today, not the judge who sits in the court with a wig, but the judge of your own intelligence. Who is guilty? The victim who screams, or the system that crushes him? If you are beginning to see the picture, if the fog is starting to clear even a little bit, then we can move deeper, because this is just the surface. The political and economic crimes are just the outer layer. There is a deeper crime, a spiritual crime, and that is where the real work begins. We will go there, but first you must drop your old definitions. You must be ready to look at the leaders and see the criminals, and look at the criminals and see the victims. Are you ready to turn the world right side up? Then look at the story of the murderer Angulimala. This is one of the most significant moments in the history of human consciousness. Angulimala was a madman. He had taken a vow to kill 1,000 people and wear their fingers as a garland around his neck. He had already killed 999. He needed just one more finger to complete his vow. The whole kingdom was trembling. Even the king was afraid to go near the forest where Angulimala lived. But Buddha walked toward that forest. The people warned him. They said, "Don't go. He does not care who you are. He will kill you just as easily as he kills a fly." Buddha smiled and kept walking. Why? Because the moral man judges, but the awakened man sees. When Buddha met Angulimala, he didn't call him evil. He didn't lecture him on the 10 Commandments. He didn't pull out a law book. He saw the suffering that had driven this man mad. He saw a man who had been born into a world without love, beaten by society, rejected by the so-called good people, twisted by guilt and anger. He saw that Angulimala was not a criminal. He was a victim of a criminal society. And what did Buddha do? He didn't punish him. He didn't call the police. He simply stood there in total silence, in total love. He made him conscious. He said to him, "I have stopped, Angulimala. I stopped long ago. My mind is still, but you are running. When will you stop?" That simple question, "When will you stop?" pierced Angulimala's heart like a sword. In that moment of shock, in the presence of a man who had no fear, the murderer disappeared. The mask fell off. The man remained. Angulimala threw away his sword and fell at Buddha's feet. He became a monk. He became enlightened. Awareness heals what punishment never can. If Buddha had used violence, Angulimala would have remained a killer. But Buddha used light. Now, not all theft is for bread. Not all crime is born of poverty. There is another kind of hunger that is far more dangerous, far more destructive. It is the hunger for power. And this hunger does not belong to the poor. It belongs to those who are already drowning in wealth. It is the hunger that drives kings, priests, and presidents. The poor man steals coins because his belly is empty. The powerful man steals freedom because his soul is empty. Do you see the difference? The poor man's crime is physical. The politician's crime is spiritual. They steal the dignity of the human soul. The politician rules your body. He puts borders around it. He taxes it. He drafts it into war. The priest rules your mind. He puts beliefs in it. He puts fear in it. And both of them have the audacity to call it service. They say, "We are serving the people." This is the greatest joke. Together they build invisible prisons. They create laws and beliefs so sacred that you don't even see the walls. And because you think you are free, you never try to escape. A prisoner who knows he is in prison will try to dig a tunnel, but a prisoner who thinks he is in a palace will decorate the walls. The real criminals are not in your jails. They are in your temples and parliaments. They are the ones who make you afraid of pleasure. They make you afraid of truth. They make you afraid of rebellion. Why? Because fear is their weapon and guilt is their leash. If you are not afraid, you don't need a leader. If you are not guilty, you don't need a priest. Their whole business depends on your sickness, so they must keep you sick. They must keep you trembling. If you are beginning to see this web of control, if you are realizing how deep this game goes, I want you to pause for a second. If you want to be free of this game, you have to support the truth. Engage with this message. Like this video, share it with someone who is still sleeping. Help me wake them up. Let us create a chain reaction of awareness. They whisper into your ear that obedience is virtue and doubt is sin. Don't doubt, they say, just have faith. But I tell you, a mind that never doubts can never wake up. Doubt is the beginning of intelligence. Doubt means you are looking, you are searching, you are alive. Faith, blind faith, is just a comfortable sleep. They tell you to worship words written centuries ago and ignore the living truth beating in your own heart. That is the greatest theft of all, stealing a man's ability to trust his own intelligence. They cripple you, they cut off your wings, and then blame you for not being able to fly. And they have done it so successfully that you now guard your own chains. You fear anyone who tries to unlock them. If someone comes and says, "You are free," you get angry. You say, "How dare you? My chains are made of gold. My chains were given to me by my ancestors." You see, the tyrant outside can only survive if there is a tyrant inside. The dictator in the palace needs the policeman in your mind. That inner voice that says, "You must not question. You must not disobey. Be a good boy. Be a nice girl." That voice, listen to it carefully. Is it your voice? No. It is the voice of your mother, your father, your schoolmaster, your priest. It is a recording. It is not your conscience. People are very confused about this. They think that little voice in their head is their conscience. It is not. It is your conditioning. Conscience is alive, fluid, spontaneous. It changes with the moment. It responds to the reality of now. Conditioning is mechanical, repetitive, dead. It always gives the same answer. If you ask a Christian conscience, it gives a Christian answer. If you ask a Hindu conscience, it gives a Hindu answer. But truth is neither Hindu nor Christian. Truth is just truth. So as long as you listen to the dead voice of conditioning, you will continue to live in a graveyard. You will be a zombie, you will move, you will eat, you will reproduce, but you will not live. But once awareness enters, that inner tyrant begins to die. This is the miracle of meditation. You don't have to fight the voice, you just have to watch it. You just have to see, this is not me, this is just a tape playing. The moment you see it as a tape, the connection is broken. You stop being ruled, you start being. Let me tell you this, and remember it well. Disobedience born of awareness is not sin, it is sacred. When you say no to a corrupt world out of clarity, not out of anger, you become a light in the darkness. There is a difference between reaction and rebellion. Reaction comes from anger. It is political. You hate the government, so you burn the flag. That is reaction. It binds you to the very thing you hate. But rebellion comes from understanding. You see the falseness, and you simply step out of it. You don't fight it, you transcend it. The true revolution is not when you overthrow governments. We have done that for thousands of years. We overthrow one tyrant, and another takes his place. We call it democracy, we call it communism, but the slavery remains. The names change, the prisons remain. The true revolution is when you overthrow the dictator within. It is not when you destroy temples, but when you stop kneeling to lies. That is the only rebellion that changes everything. The rebellion of consciousness. And when you see this, when you see how society manufactures criminals to keep itself alive, you can no longer condemn the so-called sinner. Your heart opens, you begin to see the pattern. You see the invisible hands writing the rules and calling it justice, building prisons and calling it peace, making slaves and calling it morality. You stop judging and compassion is born. This is inevitable. Awareness is the father, compassion is the mother. They always come together. Once you understand that society creates both the thief and the judge, the killer and the saint, then your vision clears. You see that they are both players in the same game. They need each other. The judge needs the thief to feel important. The saint needs the sinner to feel holy. You stop asking, how do we punish crime? And you start asking, how do we awaken love? That is the only real question. Punishment has failed. Look at your history books. Punishment has been tried for 10,000 years. Has crime disappeared? No, it has increased. It has become more sophisticated because a man who is conscious cannot harm. It is impossible. His very presence becomes a blessing. His very breath is a healing. He is in harmony with the whole. And when enough human beings live in that awareness, this whole machinery of sin and punishment will collapse. There will be no need for prisons, for governments, for priests. Why would you need a policeman if you don't want to steal? Why would you need a priest if you are already in direct contact with the divine? The only true law will be the law of understanding. So look carefully. The world you live in has turned everything upside down. The true saints are in prison or in madhouses or ignored on the streets, and the real criminals are giving sermons. The thieves are punished for stealing bread, but those who have stolen your joy, your innocence, your laughter, they are praised as protectors of morality. That is the grand deception. Once you see it clearly, you step out of it. You simply drop the game. You no longer belong to their madness. You belong to consciousness itself. And now, as we go deeper, as the layers of the onion are peeled away, a new and more profound question begins to rise within you. If forgetfulness of our being is the root of all this trouble, if unconsciousness is the seed of every act of violence, then perhaps the greatest crime is not against others at all. Perhaps the real crime is against oneself. This is the turning point. Stop looking at the world for a moment and look at yourself. The greatest crime does not happen in the marketplace or the battlefield. It happens in the silent corners of your own being. The real crime is forgetfulness, forgetting that you are consciousness, forgetting your original face, forgetting who you were before they gave you a name and a religion. Beneath the noise of your thoughts and the burdens of your identity, there exists a pure, living presence that has never harmed anyone. That presence is you, that cannot harm anyone because it knows no separation. When man forgets this, he falls asleep. And in that sleep, he begins to hurt others. He begins to hurt himself. He becomes a nightmare to himself and to the world. Every war, every lie, every cruelty that has ever scarred this earth began in the same moment, the moment man forgot who he was. You see, the world is not suffering because man is evil. That is a wrong diagnosis. Priests say you are born sinners. I say no, you are not born sinners. You are born unconscious. You are born in a state of sleep potential. The world suffers because man is unconscious. Forgetfulness is the root of all violence. The moment you forget your being, ego takes over. The ego is a false entity. It is a bubble. And because it is false, it is always afraid of popping. It needs constant support. It needs conflict to survive. It needs to prove itself. It needs to dominate. It needs to win. The ego cannot exist in peace. Have you noticed? When you are peaceful, the I disappears. When you are angry, the I becomes very strong. So the ego loves war. Peace feels like death to the ego. So it creates comparison, competition, jealousy, war. And it does this beautifully. It is very cunning. It wraps its madness in noble words. It calls hatred patriotism. It says, I am killing for my country. It calls greed ambition. It says, I am building a future for my family. It calls revenge justice. This is the cleverness of forgetfulness. It makes you believe your sickness is your strength. Remember the story of Adam's fall from paradise. It is one of the most misunderstood stories in the world. The priests have used it to make you feel guilty. They say Adam sinned by disobeying God. I say to you, it is not a story about sin. It is a story about sleep. It is a story about the loss of awareness. The fruit of the tree of knowledge represents the birth of the mind. the birth of distinction, the birth of duality. The moment Adam ate the fruit, he began to think, he began to label. This is good, this is bad, I am naked, I should be ashamed. Before that, he was naked and he was not ashamed. He was like an animal, like a tree, unconscious but in harmony. The fruit represents the beginning of thought, and with it, the loss of direct awareness. Man became divided, thinker and thought, observer and observed, self and other. And from that division, paradise was lost. But listen closely, because this is the good news. The garden still exists. It was never destroyed. God did not burn it down. It was only forgotten. You have just closed your eyes to it. The moment you awaken, paradise returns. Not somewhere above the clouds, not after you die. I am not selling you a post-dated check. I am telling you about cash, here and now, right here, in the freshness of this moment. But this forgetfulness, it is sticky. It doesn't come all at once. It happens slowly through layers. First, you forget silence. The world becomes noisy and you get used to the noise. Then you forget wonder. You stop looking at the stars. You stop looking at the flower. You just walk past them. Then you forget love. Eventually, you forget that you ever forgot. That is the final stage of the coma. You think this miserable life, this life of anxiety and stress, is normal. You think it is the only way to be. You begin to live entirely in the world of noise, the mind's endless commentary, society's endless demands. You become a cog in the machine. And because everyone around you is also asleep, it starts to look normal. If everyone is walking on their hands and you walk on your legs, they will call you crazy. They will send you to a psychiatrist. Why are you walking upside down? They will ask. In a madhouse, the sane man is the anomaly. You learn to call your prison freedom and your madness sanity. Have you ever watched a child play? I mean really watched? That total absorption. He is lost in the play. He is not worrying about the future. He is not regretting the past. He is not trying to be the best player in the world. He is just playing. That laughter that comes from nowhere. That is what real awareness looks like. The child isn't moral, he isn't virtuous, he isn't wise in the way of books, he is simply present. But as he grows, we jump on him, we say, "Stop playing, time to learn." We begin to educate him, to fill him with knowledge. We dump mountains of information on his little head. Geography, history, mathematics, religion. And in doing so, we take away his knowing. There is a difference between knowledge and knowing. Knowledge is borrowed, knowing is yours. Knowledge is dead, knowing is alive. We tell him who he should be, what he should want, what he should fear. Be a doctor, be an engineer, make money, buy a big house. We condition him to run the race. And by the time he becomes an adult, he has forgotten the taste of presence. He has forgotten how to just sit and look at the sky. If he sits and does nothing, he feels guilty. "I am wasting time," he says. Time is money. What a stupid idea. Time is not money. Time is life. You can print money, but you cannot print time. He has learned to function, to achieve, to compete, but he has forgotten how to live. He is a successful failure. He has everything, but he has nothing because he has lost himself. And this loss, it poisons everything, even the most sacred things, even love. When you forget yourself, even love becomes contaminated. Look at your relationships. Be honest. Are they based on freedom or are they based on need? You start loving as a need, as a trade, as a demand. you say, I love you. It sounds beautiful. It is the most beautiful poetry. But inside, if you decode it, you are really saying, I need you to complete me. I am empty, fill me. I am lonely, be my distraction. I am afraid, hold my hand. You are using the other person. You are reducing a living human being to a utility, a drug, and when they don't fulfill your need, you hate them. The love turns to hate in a second. Why? Because it was never love. It was a business deal. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And when you stop scratching, the contract is broken. But how can two empty people complete each other? Two beggars cannot make an emperor. They can only collide. They can only wound each other and call it intimacy. That is why relationships become prisons. You are the jailer of your wife. She is the jailer of you. You are watching each other. Where are you going? Who are you talking to? Why are you smiling at that person? Possessiveness, jealousy, domination. These are the walls of the relationship prison. And they are built by unconscious minds. And yet, there is another possibility. A possibility that opens up only when you wake up. When a conscious man loves, his love has no condition, no purpose, no fear. He does not love you because he needs something from you. He is already full. He is overflowing. It flows naturally, the way a flower gives fragrance. The flower does not ask, who is smelling me? Is he a good man or a bad man? Is he rich or poor? No. The flower just gives. Even if nobody passes by, the flower still gives its fragrance to the wind. He doesn't love because it's good to love. He loves because he can't help it. It is his nature. He is love. But to reach this state, you have to stop running. You have to stop chasing the shadows on the wall. The more man forgets himself, the more laws he creates. The more unconscious he becomes, the more rules he needs to control his own chaos. Look at your law books. They are growing thicker every year, thousands of new laws. Why? Because man is becoming more and more lawless inside. So we need more and more handcuffs outside. Awareness doesn't need rules. It's its own law. Just as a lamp doesn't need to be told to shine, consciousness doesn't need to be told to be kind. You don't have to give a commandment to the sun, please rise at 6 a.m. It rises. It is its nature. Its very nature is compassion. That's why I say the only real justice is awareness. Punishment never transforms. Only light does. When you bring light into a dark room, the darkness doesn't argue. It doesn't fight. It doesn't say, I have been here for 1,000 years. I am not leaving. No, the moment the light enters, the darkness is gone. It disappears. But society keeps you distracted for this very reason. It fears your awakening. If you wake up, you become unmanageable. You become unpredictable. A machine is predictable. A man is not. It keeps you busy with endless goals, desires, fears, politics, entertainment. Look at your television, your internet. It is a constant bombardment of distraction. Buy this, fear this, hate this, watch this. Anything that can keep you running in circles. Anything to keep you from sitting still. Because the moment you stop, you begin to remember. And when you remember, you can no longer be controlled. You can no longer be used. You become an individual. And society hates individuals. Society wants a herd. That's why meditation is the most revolutionary act in existence. It is not just a relaxation technique. It is not just for lowering your blood pressure. It is an act of rebellion. It is declaring independence from the unconscious mind. Sitting silently, doing nothing, you begin to undo centuries of conditioning. You begin to taste the fragrance of your own being. You begin to hear the song that has been drowned out by the noise of the marketplace. You ask me, how can one live with awareness in such a corrupt world? It is a valid question. The world is corrupt, it is violent, it is insane. I tell you, that's the only way to live in it without becoming corrupt yourself. If you are not aware, the world will swallow you. The world will make you like itself. Awareness doesn't mean escaping the world. I am not telling you to run away to the Himalayas and sit in a cave. That is cowardice. That is fear. It means seeing it clearly, walking through it without letting its madness infect you. Be in the world, but not of the world. Like a lotus flower, it grows in the mud, but the mud does not touch it. It remains pure. When you walk through a garden full of thorns with awareness, you don't get wounded, you move gracefully, you watch your step. Awareness turns even pain into insight, even darkness into depth. If you are aware, suffering becomes a teacher. It deepens you. It destroys your ego. Forgetfulness is like dust covering a mirror. The mirror is not broken. The mirror doesn't stop reflecting. It's just hidden. The light is still there waiting. All you need is to clean the dust. And how do you clean the dust? Not by fighting it. Don't fight the darkness. You cannot fight darkness with a sword. You cannot fight darkness with boxing gloves. Bring a candle. That is all. Don't fight your ego. Many people make this mistake. They start fighting their ego. I must kill my ego. Who is saying this? It is the ego. The ego is saying, I am so humble, I will kill the ego. It is a trick. Just become more aware of it, watch it, laugh at it, and slowly the fog clears. The real criminals are not those who break the law. They are those who have forgotten their consciousness. They move through life asleep, and in their sleep, they create pain. They create injustice. They create religions that divide, governments that kill, economies that exploit. But even they, listen to me, even the worst criminals, the tyrants, the murderers, even they are not beyond redemption, because deep down their light too is only covered, not gone. They are not evil, they are just deeply, deeply asleep. They are in a nightmare. So remember this, every act of cruelty, every lie, every betrayal begins in the same place. The moment a man forgets himself, and every act of kindness, every spark of genius, every glimpse of love begins the moment he remembers. Awareness is not a luxury. It is not a hobby for rich people who have nothing else to do. It is not something you do on Sunday morning. It is survival. The moment you forget your being, you begin to die, not the physical death that will happen anyway. I'm talking about the slow death of meaning, the death of joy, the death of the song in your heart. The moment you remember, you are reborn. If forgetfulness is the root of crime, then remembrance, awareness, must be the true justice. And that awareness is not something you have to gain. It is not an achievement like a university degree or a bank balance. It is something you have to uncover. It is already there, just beneath the noise, waiting. It has been waiting for you for lifetimes. And once it awakens, everything changes. The thief disappears, but the man remains. The sinner dissolves, but the soul shines. And now the question arises, and it is a dangerous question, perhaps the most dangerous question a human being can ask. If awareness alone can free us, if remembrance is the true law, then what does it mean to rebel? What does it mean to live in a world that still sleeps while you are awake? Let us explore that. Because the awakened man is not against the world. He simply lives in it with open eyes. The moment you awaken to your own consciousness, a strange thing begins to happen. You can no longer fit into the patterns that once felt normal. The clothes of society no longer fit you. The games of society no longer amuse you. You begin to see that everything around you is based on sleep. You look at people, your friends, your family, your colleagues, and you see they are walking and talking and loving and fighting without ever truly being there. They are sleepwalking, they are dreaming, they are alive. You feel like a man who has woken up in the middle of a dream that everyone else still believes is real. And in that moment, true rebellion is born, not the rebellion of anger or politics, not the rebellion of the communist or the anarchist who wants to burn down the parliament. That is a childish rebellion. It is reaction. I am speaking of the rebellion of awareness. The true rebel does not fight society with hatred. He transcends it through understanding. He has nothing to destroy because he sees that destruction already rules the world of the unconscious. Why add more destruction to a world that is already destroying itself? His revolution is not in the streets, it is in his soul. To change the world first, you must free yourself from it. And this sounds easier than it is. It sounds very simple. I will just be free. But do you know what the world is? The world is not just outside. The world is inside you. Its rules, its voices, its judgments have become your inner structure. Even when you sit in silence, the world is speaking through you. You sit to meditate, and suddenly the market opens in your head. The stock market, the vegetable market, the relationship market. Voices from 30 years ago start chattering. You are not good enough. You should be working. What will people think? You may leave your country, you may leave your religion, you may leave your family, you can run to the Himalayas and sit in a cave, but you cannot escape the echoes of their conditioning. You will carry your family in your head, you will carry your priest in your backpack, not until you see them clearly, not until you expose them to the light. That is why I say meditation is the only true rebellion. It is the quiet fire that burns away the chains of habit and fear. It's not about escaping the marketplace. It is about finding stillness in the middle of it. If you can be silent in the middle of a screaming crowd, that is mastery. If you can be alone in the middle of a party, that is freedom. People think rebellion means shouting slogans, burning systems, fighting authority. But that kind of rebellion only replaces one prison with another. You overthrow the Tsar, you get Stalin. You overthrow the capitalist, you get the Commissar. The name of the jailer changes, but the jail remains. The rebel I speak of is not interested in conquering. He is interested in understanding. He has no ideology. He has no political dream. He has no desire to convert anyone. He simply refuses to live in lies. He says, I will not participate in your madness. You can continue, but without me. And because he lives in truth, his very existence becomes a revolution. He doesn't have to shout. His silence disturbs the noise of the world. His laughter exposes the seriousness of the false. His love makes fear tremble. You may ask, how can silence be rebellion? How can just sitting there doing nothing be dangerous? But I tell you, silence is dangerous to the unconscious mind because it cannot be manipulated. A silent man cannot be controlled. You cannot sell him things he doesn't need. You cannot make him vote for a war he doesn't believe in. You cannot make him afraid of a hell that doesn't exist. He doesn't react, he responds. There is a great difference. Reaction is mechanical. Someone insults you, you get angry. That is a mechanism. You push the button, the machine starts. The other person is the master. You are the slave. He pushes your button and you dance. Response is conscious. Someone insults you and you look at him. You see his anger, you see his pain, you see his stupidity, and you decide. Maybe you laugh. Maybe you say, "You are right." Maybe you stay silent, but the button has been removed. When you are silent, no one can push your buttons because the buttons have been removed. The world feeds on reaction. The media feeds on your reaction. The politicians feed on your reaction. They want you angry, they want you afraid. The moment you stop reacting, the whole machinery begins to collapse. The vampire loses its food source. That is why every society fears the man who meditates. They will tolerate a drunkard, they will tolerate a thief, but they cannot tolerate a Buddha. The soldier who kills is rewarded with medals. The monk who sits in stillness is called useless. They ask, what is he producing? What is his contribution to the economy? They don't know that he is contributing the most valuable thing of all, sanity. Yet it is the monk who holds the real power, the power to see through illusion. Let me tell you a story that cuts to the very heart of this matter. There was once a Zen monk who lived in a small hut outside a village. He owned nothing but the clothes on his back and a simple wooden bowl. One day, a thief broke into a house in the village and stole some gold. The villagers were furious. They were looking for a scapegoat. They saw the monk walking nearby and they decided, in their blindness, that he was the thief. They dragged him to the magistrate, shouting, "He stole from us! He is a fraud! Look at him, pretending to be holy!" The monk stood there smiling. He was holding the very object he was accused of stealing. The villagers had shoved it into his hands to frame him. The crowd was screaming, spitting, throwing stones. When the judge asked him, "What do you have to say for yourself? Did you steal this?" The monk bowed deeply and said, "Yes, I took it because I thought you would be happier if I did." The court went silent. The people were confused. They thought he was mocking them. "Is he crazy?" they whispered. "Why is he admitting it so easily?" They wanted a fight. They wanted him to deny it so they could prove him wrong. They wanted drama. But the judge, who was a little wiser than the mob, looked into the monk's eyes. He saw no fear. He saw no guilt. He saw a pool of infinite silence. He saw his meaning. The monk wasn't defending himself because he had no self to defend. He was free even in accusation. He had nothing to protect, nothing to hide, nothing to lose. If they put him in jail, he would meditate in jail. If they released him, he would meditate under a tree. His freedom did not depend on their verdict. His freedom was inner. That's what real rebellion looks like. Not defiance, but freedom. Defiance is just the other side of obedience. The obedient man says yes when he wants to say no. The defiant man says no, even when he wants to say yes, just to be difficult. Both are bound by the authority. The free man acts from his own center. When you begin to live like this, society will misunderstand you. Take this as a guarantee. If they understood you, you would be one of them. The fact that they misunderstand you is the proof that you are waking up. It always misunderstands the free soul. It called Jesus a blasphemer. Why? Because he said, "I and my Father are one." To the Jewish priests, this was the ultimate crime. You are just a carpenter's son. How can you be one with God? They could not see his height. It called Buddha a destroyer of tradition because he said, "Do not believe the Vedas just because they are old. Do not believe the scriptures. Believe only your own experience." He was taking away their crutches. and people love their crutches more than they love their legs. It called Socrates a corrupter of youth because he taught them to question. The world doesn't hate evil as much as it hates awakening. Evil is predictable. Evil is part of the game. But awakening exposes the hypocrisy of its saints. When a real man of truth walks into a room of fake priests, the priests tremble. His light makes their darkness visible. The rebel doesn't seek approval. This is the trap most of you fall into. You want to be free, but you also want to be liked. You want to be yourself, but you also want the neighbors to clap for you. It is impossible. You cannot have both. If you want the neighbors to clap, you must be what they want you to be. You must be a sheep. If you want to be a lion, you must accept that the sheep will be afraid of you. The rebel seeks truth. He lives by his own light, even if it means walking alone. And I tell you, there is a beauty in walking alone. There is a dignity in it. A crowd gives you warmth, but it takes away your soul. Solitude gives you back your soul. And yet, and this is the paradox, the awakened man does not run away from the sleeping world. He does not hate the sleepers. How can you hate someone who is dreaming? You feel compassion. You want to shake them gently. Wake up, the house is on fire. He moves among them like a lamp in the dark. His presence is his message. He doesn't preach. Preaching is violence. Preaching is trying to force your truth on others. He radiates. He shines. If you bring a flower into a room, does the flower preach? Does it say, "Smell me, I am the best flower"? No. It just releases its fragrance. If you have a nose, you smell it. If you have a cold, you don't. That is not the flower's problem. The awakened man isn't against anyone. He is simply for consciousness. Wherever he goes, the very air begins to tremble with awareness. Have you ever met such a man? Or even sat in the presence of someone who is deeply silent? You feel something. You can't explain it. Your mind stops. Your worries suddenly seem small. People may not understand him, but they feel something. A strange calm, a sense of possibility, a memory of something they had forgotten. They feel a pull, like a moth to a flame. This is the gift of the rebel. He reminds others that freedom is their birthright. He is a mirror. When you look at him, you see your own potential. You see what you could be. And if this is resonating with you, if you feel that trembling in the air right now just by listening to these words, then you are ready. You are ready to stop being a reflection and start being the source. Don't just listen, become. Subscribe to your own awakening. Join this rebellion of silence. But let us go deeper. The rabbit hole has no bottom. When one man awakens, it is a miracle. In a world of billions of sleepwalkers, for one pair of eyes to open is a cosmic event. But when many awaken, when you awaken and you, it becomes a revolution, a silent one, invisible to those still trapped in noise, yet unstoppable. They will not see it coming. The politicians will not see it on their radars. The economists will not see it in their graphs, because it is not happening on the surface. It is happening in the roots. The outer world begins to reflect the inner change. This is the only way real change happens. Violence decreases not because of new police forces, not because of more cameras on the streets, but because hearts are no longer at war with themselves. If you are peaceful inside, you cannot be violent outside. If you are not fighting yourself, you have no need to fight your neighbor. Greed fades not through socialism or capitalism. Ideologies have failed. Communism failed. capitalism is failing. Why? Because they treat the symptom, not the cause. Greed comes from an inner emptiness. You feel a hole inside, so you try to fill it with money, with cars, with power, but the hole is infinite. You can throw the whole world into it and it will still be empty. But when you are awake, the hole disappears. You are full, you are fulfilled. Greed fades because the need to fill the inner emptiness disappears. A conscious being does not need power over others. His joy is in being himself. He is so happy just breathing, just existing, that he has no need to conquer. This is how real transformation happens. It doesn't start with a crowd. It starts with a single flame. Look at a candle. It is a small flame, but it can light 1,000 other candles without losing its own light. And soon the whole room is bright. When enough flames are lit, the darkness cannot survive. Buddha didn't fight kingdoms. He was a prince. He could have been a great king, a conqueror, but he saw the futility of it. He dropped the sword and took up the begging bowl. And yet he conquered more hearts than Alexander the Great. Alexander conquered land. Buddha conquered souls. He created awareness. Gandhi didn't conquer armies. He was a frail old man. He had no weapons, but he inspired conscience. He made the British Empire feel ashamed. He defeated them not with guns, but with truth. Their revolutions were not made of weapons, but of awakening. And that is the only revolution that lasts, because it doesn't depend on victory. It depends on vision. When you fight with a sword, there is a winner and a loser, and the loser will wait for his time to strike back. The war never ends. But when you fight with awareness, there is no loser. Everyone wins. Even the one you opposed is transformed. So I say to you, be a rebel, but not the kind who fights authority in the streets. Be the kind who transcends it. Don't waste your energy on anger. Anger is a leakage of energy. It makes you weak. It blinds you. Channel that energy into understanding. Don't hate the blind. If a man is blind and bumps into you, do you get angry? No, you help him. The politicians, the priests, the criminals, they are blind. Become more light. Don't argue with the false. Argument only gives the false validity. If you argue with a fool, there are two fools. Simply lives so truly that the false fades on its own. This is the rebellion of the awakened heart, effortless, graceful, and unafraid. And as you walk this path, as you begin to embody this rebellion, you will notice a strange peace growing within you. It is not a dead silence like a cemetery. It is a singing silence. The noise of ambition fades. You realize you don't have to become the president. You don't have to become the richest man. You are enough as you are. The need to prove yourself dissolves. Who are you trying to prove yourself to? To a society that doesn't care about you? To a father who is dead? You no longer want to change the world because you see the world is already changing. Through your very awareness, your vibration is changing it. That's the paradox of the rebel. He changes everything by trying to change nothing. He is like a catalyst. He enters the chemical reaction and everything changes, but he remains untouched. He simply becomes a mirror in which existence can see itself clearly again. And now, we arrive at the threshold of the ultimate understanding. We have looked at crime, we have looked at the rebel, but there is one more step, one final illusion to shatter. If the rebel lives in this state of total awareness, beyond fear and guilt, beyond obedience and defiance, then what happens to the very idea of crime and virtue? What happens to morality itself? Does he become immoral? Does he become amoral? or does he enter a dimension that your languages have no word for? Let us go deeper. For only beyond those ideas, beyond the duality of good and bad, does true innocence begin to bloom. When awareness flowers fully, something extraordinary happens. Both crime and virtue disappear. The whole map dissolves. What remains? What remains is innocence, a state so pure that it cannot be compared to goodness or badness, right or wrong. It is beyond them, like the sky is beyond the clouds. Clouds come and go, some are white and fluffy, some are dark and stormy, but the sky remains untouched. It has no preference. It does not say, I only want the white clouds. It accepts all. You see, morality and immorality are two sides of the same coin. They are both manufactured by the human mind. They are twins. The moment you say, this is good, you have already created the shadow of bad. The moment you define virtue, vice is born. You cannot have saints without sinners. They define each other. That is the duality in which humanity has suffered for centuries. Chasing goodness and falling into guilt, trying to avoid sin and becoming obsessed with sin in the effort. It is a trap. The more you run away from a shadow, the more the shadow chases you. But when consciousness dawns, the entire game collapses. You no longer live by the rules of opposites. You live by the law of being. And this law of being is not written in any constitution. It is not written in the Bible or the Quran. It is written in the very cells of your body, in the very beat of your heart. It is the living intelligence of existence itself. A man who is truly aware cannot harm. I repeat this because it is essential. He cannot harm. Not because he fears punishment, not because he is afraid of the police or hellfire, but because he sees no separation between himself and others. How can you steal from yourself? If you know that the money in your pocket and the money in the other man's pocket belongs to the same existence, theft becomes absurd. It becomes a joke. How can you lie to your own heart? The flower doesn't give fragrance because it should. There is no should in nature. Does the rose wake up in the morning and say, oh, I must be a good rose today, I must follow the 10 commandments of roses? No, it simply blooms. It gives because it cannot help it. Its nature is to give. The sun doesn't shine because someone told it to. It doesn't shine to get a reward. It shines because that is what it is. It is light. Awareness brings you to that same simplicity. Then compassion is not an effort. Love is not a duty. Forgiveness is not a discipline you have to practice with grinding teeth. They are as natural as breathing. This is the great distinction. The moral man acts good. The conscious man is good. Do you feel the difference? Acting good is a strain. It is a performance. You are always on stage. You have to maintain the facade. You have to hide your anger, hide your greed, hide your lust, and whatever you hide grows in the dark. Virtue without awareness is dead. It is like painting light on the walls of a dark room. You can paint the walls yellow, but the room is still dark. You can paint a smile on your face, but your heart is still crying. It may look bright for a moment, but the darkness remains untouched. A so-called virtuous man goes on polishing his image while his heart remains heavy with hypocrisy. He follows commandments. He goes to church every Sunday. He performs rituals. He gives money to the poor, but he makes sure the photographer is there to take a picture. His goodness is a mask worn to hide fear. He is terrified of hell, desperate for heaven. He is a coward, and in that desperation, he never lives at all. The moral man obeys because he is afraid to be himself. The conscious man is himself because he is no longer afraid. Have you noticed how those who preach virtue are often the most miserable people you meet? Look at your priests, your Puritans. Their smiles are tight, like plastic. Their eyes are dull. Their laughter is hollow. It doesn't have the ring of truth. Why? Because they have been suppressing their nature for so long. They have been fighting themselves. They have turned their own biology into an enemy. They have made sex a sin. They have made food a sin. They have made comfort a sin. They call it discipline, but it is really disease. It is a neurosis. Awareness heals that disease by dissolving the division inside you. Suddenly, you don't need to pretend. You don't need to be moral. You just need to be awake. And when you are awake, morality blooms by itself. But it is a different kind of morality. It is not imposed. It is authentic. It is fresh. It changes with the moment. If you are seeing this distinction between acting good and being real, I want you to claim it. Don't just listen. Affirm it. Write, "I choose reality" in the comments below. Let the world know you are done with the masks. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. It is a story about Mahavira, a great enlightened master. A man once struck Mahavira with a stick. He was full of rage, full of hatred. He hit him hard. Blood flowed from the enlightened one's body. It was a terrible scene. The disciples were angry. They wanted to jump on the man, but Mahavira's face remained calm. His eyes were radiant with peace. He didn't even flinch. Seeing this reaction, or rather this non-reaction, the attacker was shocked. He expected anger, he expected a fight, he expected fear, but he saw only love. He trembled. The stick fell from his hand. He fell at Mahavira's feet, crying, "Forgive me. I have committed a terrible crime. I have hurt a holy man." Mahavira smiled. Listen to his words. He said, "You have not harmed me. You have only hurt your own soul. I forgive you not because you deserve it, but because I cannot do otherwise." I cannot do otherwise. That is awareness. Forgiveness wasn't a moral choice for Mahavira. He didn't think, "Oh, the scriptures say I should forgive, so I will forgive." No, he had no choice. He was love. When you squeeze an orange juice comes out. Why? Because that is what is inside. When you squeeze a conscious man, only compassion comes out, because that is what is inside. It is the natural fragrance of an awakened heart. This is what I mean when I say that awareness goes beyond virtue. It doesn't make you good in the social sense, it makes you real. And when you are real, goodness follows like a shadow. You don't have to drag it, it follows you. Virtue is no longer something you practice. It becomes the scent of your being. Crime too disappears, because crime needs unconsciousness to survive. It needs darkness. A man in deep awareness cannot lie, because lying would mean going against his own light. It would be painful. It would be a discord. He cannot be violent because violence would mean hurting his own body, his own breath, his own existence. He feels the other person's pain as his own. The religions of the world have wasted centuries trying to make man moral through commandments and fear. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. And look at the result. Look at the newspaper today. The world is still violent, greedy, angry. The history of humanity is the history of crime. When will humanity learn that fear can never create love? You can frighten a man into obedience. You can put a gun to his head and make him bow down. But you cannot frighten him into compassion. You cannot force a flower to open with a hammer. If you use a hammer, you will destroy the flower. You can make him kneel, but you can't make him pray. Prayer is a flowering of the heart. Kneeling is just a physical posture. Awareness is the only revolution that transforms fear into love, obedience into understanding. It is the only alchemy. When awareness is complete, there is nothing left to condemn or to praise. You step out of the court of judgment entirely. You no longer look at life as a moral battlefield of saints and sinners. That is a childish way of seeing. It is a cartoon. You simply see, and in seeing, all judgment dissolves. You see the tree, the river, the murderer, the saint. All are expressions of the same existence moving in different stages of remembering itself. The tree is asleep, the animal is dreaming, the man is sleepwalking, the Buddha is awake. But it is the same life force, the same electricity running through different bulbs. Some bulbs are dim, some are bright. Do you hate the dim bulb? No. You understand it has a lower voltage. How can you condemn one and worship the other? Awareness brings such total acceptance that even what you once called evil becomes part of a vast cosmic harmony. Now, be careful here. Do not misunderstand me. This doesn't mean the awakened man approves of harm. It doesn't mean he says, go ahead, kill people, it's all cosmic harmony. No. It means he understands it. He understands the mechanism. He understands that the killer is acting out of suffering, out of blindness. And through that understanding, he transforms it. His very vision becomes medicine. When you look at a madman with love, you heal him. When you look at him with judgment, you push him deeper into his madness. And when you live like this, beyond crime and virtue, you discover something greater, freedom from fear itself. The moral man is always afraid. He is walking on a tightrope. If I make one mistake, I will fall. He is afraid of his own shadow. He is afraid of losing control. He is afraid that if he relaxes, the beast within him will come out. The criminal is afraid too. He is afraid of the police. He is afraid of punishment. He is afraid of exposure. He lives in the shadows. So the moral man and the criminal are both living in fear. They are neighbors in the same psychological city. But the conscious man knows no fear because he has nothing to lose and nothing to protect. He is transparent. You can look right through him. He has no secrets. His heaven is here. His hell has been dissolved by light. He lives each moment in trust, not intention. He trusts existence. He knows that whatever happens is right. If life brings joy, good. If life brings sadness, good. He watches both. When the mind is silent and the heart is free, innocence returns. But this is not the innocence of ignorance. It is not the innocence of a baby who doesn't know that fire burns. It is the innocence of wisdom. It is the second childhood. It comes after the journey through experience. You have known the world. You have known the filth, you have known the darkness, and you have transcended it. Then every breath is a prayer. You don't have to go to the temple. Your body is the temple. Every act is a meditation. To eat, to walk, to smile, to sleep, all becomes sacred because you are present. People ask me, Osho, what is your discipline? What rituals do you do? I say to them, I just live. When I eat, I just eat. When I sleep, I just sleep. That is the highest discipline, to be totally there. You've gone beyond rules, beyond scriptures, beyond saints and sinners. You've come home to yourself. And once this happens, there is nothing more to achieve. The race is over. You can put down your running shoes. You live not to become something, not to become rich, not to become holy, not to become famous, but to celebrate what already is. Life becomes a celebration. It is no longer a test. You love not because it's commanded, but because existence overflows through you. You act not out of morality, but out of joy. This is the highest state. This is the state I want for you. This is the state that is your birthright, beyond right and wrong, beyond virtue and crime, beyond the prison of duality. And once you've tasted this freedom, even for a single second, you can never go back. You cannot fit back into the cage. The bird has flown. So I tell you, forget morality. Forget your do's and don'ts. They are rubbish. They are weighing you down. Remember awareness. That is the only golden key. Forget commandments and listen to your consciousness. Your consciousness is the voice of God within you. The commandments are just paper. Forget the false division between saint and sinner. It is a political trick. And remember the unity of all life, because in the end there are no criminals, no saints, no sinners. There is only consciousness playing in different masks. Sometimes it wears the mask of a thief. Sometimes it wears the mask of a king. Sometimes it wears the mask of a beggar. But behind the mask, it is the same face. And when you can see this, when you can laugh with the game instead of judging it, when you can love without fear and live without guilt, then you've truly gone beyond crime and virtue. The world you see is upside down. I have said this from the beginning. Those who are asleep rule over those who are awake. The unconscious are celebrated as leaders. The blind are leading the blind. The conscious are crucified as threats. They are silenced, they are marginalized. The man who lives in truth walks alone because truth has never been welcomed by the crowd. The crowd wants comfort, the crowd wants lies that taste sweet. Truth is bitter in the beginning, but sweet in the end. Lies are sweet in the beginning, but poison in the end. And yet, even as they kill the Buddhas and silence the prophets, humanity keeps searching for them again. You kill Jesus, and then for 2,000 years you worship him. You poison Socrates, and then you build universities in his name. Why? Because deep down everyone knows that without awakening, life is just a long, slow sleepwalk toward death. Everyone knows that money is not enough, power is not enough, pleasure is not enough. There is a hunger for something else. The world keeps repeating its mistakes, wars, greed, slavery, because it keeps forgetting its own lessons. We fight World War I, we say never again. Then we fight World War II. Then we prepare for World War III. Why? Because the human mind hasn't changed. Awareness is the only revolution that breaks this circle. The outer revolutions change governments, borders, ideologies, but they never change man. They just repaint the prison walls. The inner revolution changes man himself, and through him the world is transformed. Remember, I am not asking you to fight the world. Do not go out and start protesting. That is a waste of energy. The world is not your enemy. Your forgetfulness is. The enemy is inside. Don't waste your energy condemning the corrupt, the powerful, the priests. They too are asleep. They are victims of the same dream. They are sleepwalking in golden pajamas, but they are still sleepwalking. Bring light into yourself, and their darkness will begin to fade. The man who is aware doesn't need to fight evil. His presence alone dissolves it. Darkness has no existence of its own. Have you ever thought about this? You cannot bring darkness into a room. You cannot say, I am going to the market to buy 2 bags of darkness to fill my house. And you cannot push darkness out. Darkness is simply the absence of light. It is a non-existence. In the same way, sin has no existence of its own. It is not a force. It is not a devil sitting on your shoulder. It is only the absence of awareness. When light comes, darkness disappears. When awareness dawns, sin is no more. When you look deeply, you see that what you've been calling evil is simply unconsciousness. It is stupidity. It is blindness. And what you've been calling good is merely consciousness in action. There is no cosmic battle between them. There is no war between God and the devil. That is a fairy tale invented to scare children. There is only the movement of awakening. Every man is walking from darkness to light, whether he knows it or not. Some are walking fast, some are sitting by the side of the road, some are walking backwards. But the destination is the same. The murderer is on the same path as the saint, only a few steps behind. He has fallen, he is hurt, he is lost in the fog, but he is on the path. That's why the awakened one feels compassion even for those who harm him. He knows they cannot do otherwise. He knows they are acting out of a nightmare. The sinner is not wicked, he is simply blind. Once you see this, hatred dies. How can you hate a blind man? You can only help him. Judgment dies, and love becomes unconditional. The real criminals then are not people, they are forces. Greed, ignorance, power, fear, these are the viruses. These forces move through individuals, through societies, through nations, making puppets dance to their tune. You see a dictator, but he is just a puppet. The strings are pulled by fear, by paranoia, by the lust for power. But awareness cuts the strings. It turns the puppet back into a human being. And that's all that's needed. We don't need supermen. We don't need gods. We just need human beings. A few human beings who have remembered what it means to be alive, who no longer move like machines, who breathe and see and love consciously. Their very existence becomes a healing for the earth. The world has worshipped saints, but it has never understood the simple truth that holiness is not found in imitation, but in authenticity. To be like Jesus is not to be holy. To be yourself is to be holy. Be yourself totally. That's holiness. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to become Buddha. Buddha is already done. Existence doesn't repeat itself. Existence needs you. You just have to stop pretending. You just have to take off the costume. When you are real, you are divine. When you are conscious, you are innocent. When you are innocent, you are free, and that freedom is your birthright. It is not a gift from the government. It is not a reward from the church. It is yours because you are alive. I tell you, don't be afraid of the light within you. I know it is scary. We have lived in the dark for so long that the light hurts our eyes. It threatens our identity. It will burn your illusions. Yes. It will burn your petty ego, yes, but it will also free your soul. It will strip away your masks, yes, but it will reveal your real face. The face that was there before the world taught you who to be, the face you had before you were born, the face you will have after you die. Awareness is fire, but it is a sacred fire. It doesn't destroy, it purifies. It burns away all that is false and leaves only truth shining and silent. So remember this, when you are aware, you cannot be deceived. And when you cannot be deceived, no one can rule you. That is the beginning of real freedom. Not political freedom, but freedom of the spirit. The man who is aware lives in the world, but the world cannot touch him. He is waterproof. The water of misery falls on him, but it slides off. He walks through it as light through shadow. He may wear the same body, the same name, the same clothes. To the ordinary eye, he looks like everyone else, but inside he belongs to another realm, the realm of truth. The world will try to pull you back. Be prepared for this. The world does not like it when a slave escapes. It will tempt you with comfort. Come back to sleep, it will say. It is warm here. We have television, we have security. It will tempt you with approval. If you behave, we will give you an award. It will tempt you with belonging. Don't be an outsider. Join the club. It will say, don't be different. It will offer you safety at the cost of your soul. But remember, safety is the slow death of the spirit. A ship in the harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. You are built for the ocean. Choose freedom instead. It's not comfortable, it's not easy, it's risky, it's dangerous, but it's real. And reality is the only thing worth dying for. Because once you find it, you stop dying altogether. You realize you are eternal. When you awaken, you stop blaming and start seeing. You stop judging and start understanding. You stop running and start being. And in that being, life becomes prayer. Every breath becomes sacred. Every act becomes meditation. You no longer seek God. Why seek what is already here? You see that you are the witness in whom the whole universe arises and dissolves. The search ends because the seeker has disappeared. Only awareness remains, infinite, still, radiant. So I say to you, awaken now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the greatest lie. Tomorrow never comes. Not after you've fixed your life. You will never fix your life while you are asleep. It's like trying to fix a dream while you are dreaming. Wake up first, then the dream disappears, not after you've gathered enough courage. Courage comes after you take the step, now, because now is all there ever is. This moment is the doorway, and awareness is the key. Step through it, be still, and see what happens. You'll find that the whole world changes without you lifting a finger. But do not mistake this not lifting a finger for laziness. The mind is very cunning. It will immediately translate effortless into lethargy. It will say, Osho says I don't have to do anything, so I will just lie on the couch and watch television. No, that is not what I mean. When I say the world changes without you lifting a finger, I am speaking of Wu Wei, actionless action. It is the action of the storm center. The storm moves at 100 miles an hour, destroying everything in its path but the center of the storm. It is absolutely still. It does not move an inch. You become that center. You move, you work, you create, you love, you dance, but inside there is no one doing it. It is happening through you. You are a hollow bamboo, and existence becomes the flute player. The music flows, but you are just the passage. This is the only way to live without creating new karma. This is the only way to live without creating new chains. And this brings us to the ultimate synthesis, the final piece of the puzzle that humanity has been missing for thousands of years. You see, the criminals in the palaces and the criminals in the prisons are both victims of a divided world, a schizophrenic world. The West has chosen the outside, science, technology, money, speed, matter. They have become Zorbas. They have forgotten the soul. They are rich outside, but beggars inside. The East has chosen the inside, meditation, prayer, silence, spirit. They have become Buddhas, but they have forgotten the body. They are rich inside, but they are starving outside. Their countries are poor, dirty, diseased. Both are incomplete. Both are lopsided. A lopsided man cannot walk straight. He will always fall. I have a vision for a new human being. A human being who is not divided. I call him Zorba the Buddha. This is your destiny. This is the only way to save this planet from the criminals who are destroying it. You must be Zorba. Love the earth, love the food, love the wine, love the dance, love the body. The body is your temple. Do not condemn it. Do not whip it. Worship it. It is a miracle of existence. Without the body you cannot meditate. Without the body you cannot reach the stars. And you must be Buddha. Sit in silence. Watch the mind. Transcend the ego. Dissolve into the cosmos. When Zorba and Buddha meet in you, when the marketplace and the monastery merge in your heart, then you are whole, and a whole man is a holy man. The real criminals want you to choose. The priest says, choose God, leave the world. The politician says, choose the world, forget God. They both want to cut you in half. I say, choose both, choose everything, be a materialist spiritualist. Why be poor when you can be rich inside and out? Why be sad when you can dance all the way to enlightenment? When you live this totality, you become a danger to the establishment. They cannot categorize you. They cannot label you. Is he a saint? No, look, he is drinking wine. Is he a sinner? No, look, his eyes are filled with divine light. You confuse them. And in that confusion you escape their trap. You become a mystery. So, my friends, my fellow travelers, the road is open. The prison door has been unlocked. I have shown you the key. The key is not in the future. It is not in the hands of a Messiah. It is in your own pocket. It is your own awareness. But you have to use it. Knowing the key is there is not enough. You have to put it in the lock and turn it. And how do you turn it? By beginning right now. Tonight, when you eat your dinner, do not just stuff food into your mouth while watching the news. That is a crime against your body. That is unconsciousness. Turn off the television. Sit. Look at the food. Feel gratitude for the existence that has provided this energy, and then eat with total awareness. Taste every texture, every flavor. Chew slowly. Make eating a meditation. If you can eat with awareness, you will not need to diet. You will not overeat. The body knows exactly what it needs when you are listening to it. Tomorrow, when you walk to work, do not just rush with your mind focused on the office. Feel the ground under your feet. Feel the air on your skin. Watch the trees. If you can walk with awareness, you will not be tired. You will be rejuvenated. And when anger comes, and it will come, because the world is full of provocations, do not suppress it and do not throw it at others. Close your door. Sit in your room. Watch the anger. See it rising like smoke. Feel the heat in your chest. Don't say, I am angry. Say, I am watching anger. This small shift in language changes everything. You create a distance. You are the watcher. Anger is the object, and the watcher is never angry. The watcher is just a mirror. Watch it, and you will be amazed. Under your very gaze, the anger will dissolve and turn into compassion. It is magic. It is the only magic that is real. You do not need to join a cult. You do not need to wear orange clothes. You do not need to change your name. You just need to change your focus from the object to the subject, from the seen to the seer. The world is in a deep crisis. You can feel it. The old systems are crumbling. The economy is shaking. The climate is changing. The political structures are rotting. The criminals are panicking. They are tightening their grip because they know their time is up. Chaos is coming, but do not be afraid of chaos. Chaos is the womb of creation. Stars are born out of chaos. This is the best time to be alive, because when the old falls apart, the new can be born. You are the midwife of the new humanity. It depends on you. Will you remain a victim crying about the injustice of the world? Or will you become a light, a rebel, a conscious being who creates a new world just by breathing? I invite you to take the jump. Do not stand on the edge shivering. The water is cold, yes, but it will wake you up. And remember, you are not alone. Look at this community we are building here. Look at the comments section below. These are not just names on a screen. These are souls, just like you, waking up from the long sleep. Connect with them. Share your truth. If this talk has touched you, if it has shaken you, do not keep it to yourself. That is miserliness. Share it. Spread the fire. Perhaps there is someone in your life, a friend, a brother, a partner, who is suffering, who is trapped in the prison of guilt and morality. Send this message to them, not to convert them, but to offer them a key. Maybe they are ready. Maybe they are just waiting for a knock on the door. Be that knock. And do not forget to claim your place in this rebellion. When you click that subscribe button, do not do it mechanically. Do not do it just because it is a YouTube habit. Do it as a commitment to yourself, a vow that says, from this day forward, I choose awareness. From this day forward, I choose to be real. Let this channel be your temple of silence. Come back here whenever the noise of the world gets too loud. Come back here to remember who you are. We will continue this journey. We will explore every corner of the human mind. We will tear down every wall that separates you from existence. I am not here to give you comfort. I am here to give you truth. Comfort makes you sleep. Truth wakes you up. And to be awake is to be alive for the first time. So walk out of the prison. The door is open. The guards are gone. The criminals have no power over a soul that is free. The sky is yours. The earth is yours. The stars are yours. Be a rebel. Be a lover. Be a Zorba. Be a Buddha. But above all, just be. Good night and good morning to your soul.